Hi, everybody. This is Todd Creager. Today, I want to talk to you about 5 tips for great sex in 5 minutes or less. 5 tips for great sex in 5 minutes. Yes, it is possible to have great sex in 5 minutes or less. Now, having said that, I'm all for longer sex. I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea. If you could spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an afternoon, a whole weekend, I'm okay with that too. But sometimes we're busy. Sometimes people have a lot to do. And I find a lot of couples, they just kind of do nothing if they're busy and they have kids running around, they have jobs to do, and they underestimate the value of 5 minutes or less. There is a lot we could do. So I'm going to talk to you about my 5 tips, how to have good sex, great sex in 5 minutes or less. All right, here goes. Tip number one. Tip number one I call priming. You got to prime the pump. Now, what I mean by priming the pump is maybe on a day that you know you want to get together with your partner and you don't have a whole lot of time, you start foreplay earlier. You give a text saying, hey, I love you. Give a compliment. Talk about anything, including looks if you want, physical attributes, but it could be anything. Basically, any kind of expression of appreciation is a good thing, and you could do that. You could also maybe talk about a little bit what would you plan to do in those 5 minutes to just set the tone, set the mood. So that could start any time of the day and can be intermittent throughout the day. So that's what I mean by priming, prime the pump. Tip number two, shift. Once you are in the vicinity of your partner and you're about to have those 5 minutes, it might be good to just kind of segue. You don't have a whole lot of time to segue. Take a few breaths. Notice your breathing. Notice your partner. Notice your partner, what your partner's wearing. Tune into just the sounds of the room. In a way, what I'm saying is you get out of your head and into your body, into your senses, and just shift. You're leaving work zone or task zone and getting into pleasure zone, connection zone, which we'll talk about in a little while. The third tip is get into the mood. Get in the mood. How do you get in the mood? Well, you focus on the things you really are attracted to about your partner. You really pay attention to that. You know, one of the things I've said so many times is the person who's responsible for turning me on is myself, more than my wife. Now, of course, I want my wife to shower. I want my wife to look good, be in somewhat decent shape, of course. But the person who's mainly in charge of me getting in the mood is me. Where is my head? What am I paying attention to? Tune into her. I've done the shift. I've grounded myself a little bit. I'm in the here and now. But now I'm focusing in number 3 in terms of what I love about her and what I'm attracted to most about her. And it could be that I say a few things to get me and her in the mood as well. So using words, of course, using touch, which really comes to number 4. Tip number 4 is connection. I've said things like this before, but sometimes we get so preoccupied with outcomes and how things should be and what we need to do with our apparatus. A man with his hard penis, or women, putting maybe too much emphasis on orgasms. I'm all for orgasms. I'm all for erections. I'm all for all that. That's fine. But what we're talking about in great sex in 5 minutes or less is mostly important is the connection. Just tuning in, creating some physical and positive intensity between you, looking at each other deeply in your eyes, soft touch, gently touch, and then depending on what you want to do, you can connect physically by more aggressive touch if that's what both of you want, more gentle touch if that's what both of you want, more arousing touch. But the key here is connecting with your eyes, with your bodies, and with your heart. So connect. And tip number 5, finish strong. What do I mean by finish strong? Again, I'm not talking about erections or anything like that. They're fine. But when I say finish strong is after you've had some of those 5 minutes or less, you tell your partner you appreciate your partner for the time that you spent, even if it was short. you embrace, you kiss, you conclude with a sense of this mattered to me, and I care about you, and I'm glad we had this short time together. Now, of course, all these 5 tips will apply if you have sex for 5 minutes or 15 minutes or 5 hours or whatever. But this particularly can be helpful when you want to have sex in 5 minutes or less. So enjoy your 5 minutes or less on those days when things are really hectic and busy, and don't miss a day, or don't miss at least too many days. Busyness doesn't get in the way of 5 minutes. It really doesn't. A lot of this is all mindset. So priming, shifting, getting into the mood, connection, finish strong. Enjoy. This is Todd Creager, making the world safe for love.